Micro-optical sort of reinvented itself and became MyView Corporation, and those the medical products sort of disappeared, and the focus was on consumer, because the consumer market is that multi-billion-dollar market that VCs like. So we used the technology to build a consumer product called MyView, and we thought MyView were going to sell it to all the kids, all the college kids that have iPods and love music and downloading content. And we went out and we focus grouped and heard the voice of the customer, and they felt it was dorky. They didn't quite know what to expect. They were very critical on how big the image was, and there was also this sort of cool association with an iPod and holding an iPod. So having this thing around your head where it wasn't quite accepted in the general public was an issue. And then we asked what would they pay for a product like this, and the feedback was, oh, about $100. Well, that was a problem because we wanted to sell it for $300. So here's voice of the customer saying, we really don't want to attack this market yet until we have our BOM under control, and maybe we can bring the product at a price point where it will be accepted. So we had to look at a different market, and that market we looked at was the business traveler, because we did voice of the customer with the business travelers. Again, trying to find the enthusiasts, those people who are most enthusiastic about the product, because they will be your evangelists. And that's very, very important when you're starting, is finding that niche, finding that very segmented market. So the business travelers, well, they thought it was a great idea, right? Who's been on a long trip and you want to entertain yourself, and you have privacy. People don't have to be looking over your shoulder at your laptop. And they could afford it. You know, $250, $300 was a good price point. So we identified early on through voice of the customer the market that we felt we're going to now craft our message and attack. But if we didn't do it, we probably would have been ill-advised and again gone after the wrong market and had some difficulties. So when you're doing that, who are you going to sell to, which is the next question. You want to make sure you peel the onion, uncover all the different layers of segmentation to really get down to the people who really value the product the most. And you really want to do a good job of identifying this demographic. And you could break it down by income and occupation and a whole list of 15, 16 different behavioral and other type of geographical demographics. And you want your marketing team to do that, so you clearly understand who your customer is. And you want to do it with a deep dive. And I'll give an example of that by breaking it down into a deep dive, which is when we first launched the medical product here, we launched it to not all surgeons of 100,000 surgeons in the U.S., but we wanted to find the surgeons that it resonated the most with. The surgeons that really would evangelize it, it really solved the problem. And that was sort of our jumping off point. And we identified that the surgeons that are most excited about this technology was the cardiovascular surgeons that do off-pump catheters. Well, what a specialty. And there's only a few hundred of those guys in the country. But that's still okay, because they were incredibly enthusiastic about the product. Because when they're performing their open heart and their heart bypass surgery, having the information, the vital signs, and the hand-eye access, and not looking away at the monitor is critical when you're maneuvering the heart. So here, the value proposition was huge. And we did a great job penetrating this marketplace. Even though it was small, we were successful. And that was very good because we generated sort of a credibility. We found people that were evangelists that now told other people, and it was easy to spread through word of mouth. We had a viral, and we're able to penetrate that market and have a success in a market. And that's critical when you're starting with new technology, is to have a success in a market. And don't look to the billion-dollar opportunity quite yet. Look to where you're going to be successful. Look to those who are going to appreciate it the most and be your evangelists. So why will they buy it from you? Well, once you identify the market and you identify correctly through focus groups and voice of the customer, They're going to buy it because you're delivering value. And this concept of delivering value is very important because it's your whole, part of your whole value proposition, your whole positioning of how you go to market. And you can deliver value through several different ways, but one way that's always common in delivering value is price. You have to make sure that what you're delivering is priced for the marketplace. Again, that's critical. And when you build the right value that's priced right, that's accepted, you build something that's very, very important with companies, and that you build loyalty. You get a group of users that are loyal to the product. And when you start building loyalty and you start building a customer base, now you start adding value to the company. And from a sales and marketing standpoint, that's what we want to do. We want to try to build credibility through building a loyal customer base. And then when you build your value proposition, obviously becomes a key differentiator. So how will you sell it to them? Building credibility. We heard earlier in terms of building the team. And building the team is important not only for funding and achieving financial security, but building the team is also important when you tell your story to the general public. And I'll give an example. Right now I'm with a new startup called North End Technologies. And we're in stealth mode. We've been at it for about a year now. And we have a fabulous technology that we're developing. And we just closed our seed round about 6 months ago. We have two founders that have enormous credibility, and this helps in everything we do. One founder was one of the founders of iRobot. His company was acquired prior to an iRobot, before they came iRobot, and his technology enabled them to build what was the PackBot, the robot that travels through the caves in Afghanistan. And he is a world-renowned roboticist. And was very successful with iRobot. They did their IPO, he left, and this is his next new thing. And he partnered with a gentleman from PictureTel Corporation. He was the chief technology officer of PictureTel, which was then later acquired by Polycom, the world leader in video conferencing. So now we've got two experts who are developing a technology, merging the technology into this video conferencing sort of robotic device. And that's about all I can say about what we're doing, although it's very exciting. But by having two credible founders, it builds credibility. And anytime you want to go to market, you want to make sure that you have your credibility in place. And your team is critical for the credibility. Also, your reference accounts. And Mark mentioned earlier the importance of reference accounts. When I was at MyView, obviously the most important reference account from a customer was Apple. And we were able to get Apple as a customer. We were able to do a launch and roll out the product in the Apple stores. But when we had Apple as a customer, that helped us with the next stage of financing, because the VCs want to know a reference account. Well, it's great to say, well, call the senior buyer over at Apple. They love the product and they're going to be selling it once it's finished and it's ready for sale. So getting reference accounts is important in building credibility. Having a successful alpha and beta program is huge for credibility. Getting it out to the right people. Getting the feedback, all to build credibility on the product, is all part of what you need to do before you just go out and go to market. Aggregating data in terms of the benefits of the product are very important, and publishing a white paper. Working with the press and the analysts are important in terms of getting out there, getting reviews, getting positive feedback, getting positive reviews in the blogs, getting it online so people can have easy access in terms of to what it is and how people have evaluated the product. And then try to get a luminary or a celebrity. Try to get somebody who is really an industry leader, an expert, to also validate what you're doing. And all these things build credibility. So when you go to market with a really nice story that's going to help you succeed.